Now, the perception of NF, a topic that came to mind about a week ago. This is a rapper I've talked about on multiple occasions. I think most of you guys are familiar with NF at this point. Anyway, I have a couple things to say about this entire topic, and by the way, I actually do have a special guest in this video, so stay tuned. But yeah, let's talk about it. Now, NF, despite being such a big name, he's a very low-key personality in the industry. I'd say that NF is a rapper whose songs are more recognized than his actual name or face, especially when we're talking about how popular he is within the hip-hop community. I've spoken about that in the past, the strange thing about NF, right? The fact that he is a rapper who puts up some really heavy numbers in relation to how recognized he actually is, but the recognition part is only so relevant because the way I'm looking at it, he's not that recognized and loved within the hip-hop community. But aside from that, NF is obviously a very successful artist, and something I've spoken about in the past that is super relevant to him as an artist is the fact that most of his fans are not core hip-hop fans. He managed to build a really tight-knit and loyal audience while not being in the mix, so to speak. NF is one of those guys who very successfully attracted the kind of audience that really resonate with him as an artist. At the beginning of his career, he was being marketed as a Christian rapper, so a noticeable percentage of his fan base got into him during that time. As time passed though, and as he kept on developing himself as an artist, that Christian rapper label was stripped away. I remember this Facebook post he put up from years ago, which I've discussed in the past, but he was pretty much frustrated with people, his fans, bashing other people who were fans of him who swore on his Facebook page and or weren't religious. He of course clarified, hey, I'm an artist and I make music for everyone to listen to. Stop pushing potential fans away for no reason. So although he started off as a Christian rapper, as things progressed, he became an artist, a rapper without a label attached to him. From what I've noticed though, the majority of his audience seem to share the same reason or reasons for why they're supporting him. A couple of those reasons, and I'll give you two for now. He's a breath of fresh air in the rap industry. That makes a lot of sense, and personally I'm not only saying that because he doesn't entertain the typical rapper topics like money, women, drugs. I would say if that's the only reason why you're supporting NF, then you're not really supporting what he is, you're supporting what he's not, because he's so much more than just that. The point I'm trying to make is he's so much more than just the rapper who doesn't swear. NF has a very nonchalant, I'm just being me way of carrying himself. It's not cocky, it's not arrogant, it's more like he's accepted and come to terms with the fact that he's different. And this brings me to the second reason, which is he doesn't try to fit in. And this is NF in a nutshell. He's most likely very aware of his place in the industry, which is why he's not looking for validation from the industry. He has a big audience who already accepts him, and they're very much bought into his music and his personality. The way I see it, he's actually very detached from the rap game, and this is something he recognizes. Yeah, I guess I don't fit the mold of rap, he said on his song Outcast. And now to the special guest. Take it over, Yassine.
What's poppin', y'all? Really appreciate Blackie for his points on here, and he's right that NF has done an insanely great job of really carving out a niche for himself as a rapper, but outside of the rap sphere. And I use this term a lot, but what it refers to is the general and casual listener of hip-hop or rap. For instance, a rapper's in the rap sphere if they're getting posted and talked about regularly by all the big media outlets like No Jumper, Academics, XXL, Say Cheese, etc. You know what I'm talking about. All the smaller pages in relation to those big ones as well. Some examples of rappers who are in the rap sphere are Kodak Black, Lil Yachty, who's constantly outsold by NF, Playboi Carti, NBA Youngboy, etc. It's not just hip-hop media outlets that don't acknowledge NF or report on him or post his music, but also these Spotify playlist editorials don't really show him much love either. If you take a look at NF's Discovered On playlist on YouTube, while I'm looking at it, at least while I'm recording this, you see the first one is This Is NF, which means that's where the majority of listeners are coming in from, which is really just his music and people familiar with him. But the next one is New Music Friday, which is fair, that's a good one to be on, but it's not hip-hop or rap related. Then there's a third-party Spotify playlist, then Pop Rising, which is really interesting considering NF has never called or referred to himself as a pop act, and then another Spotify playlist by a third party. Yet, despite this, he still has well over 13 million monthly listeners, with almost zero active presence on social media, and being very much of a recluse online. If he was in the rap sphere, he would be getting looks on playlists like Rap Caviar, Most Necessary, Beast Mode Hip Hop, or Get Turned, which he has songs that would fit into those moods, yet he's not placed on any of these, despite the fact that he releases a music video that trends at #1 on YouTube, getting over 500,000 views in the first hour, and that same song Clouds debuted at number 53 on the Hot 100. Meanwhile, Lil Yachty and Kodak Black's song Hit 'Bout It, which got way more press. Kodak Black is scorching hot, he just got out of prison, and Lil Yachty's been heating up too, and it had playlist support. It debuted at number 67, which is lower. Like Blacky said earlier, NF knows that he doesn't need to fit in the mold of rap, and instead of trying to prove that he does, plenty of rappers have fallen into this trap, and it's backfired on them. NF just continues to exist and put out the music that he loves, and his fans organically spread it and show a level of support that's really unparalleled. There's a reason why he has the fan base he has, and that's because he kind of started out as a Christian rapper, really. And while he doesn't necessarily hold onto that label, and he never really super embraced that label, stating that he makes music for everyone, he still built up his initial core fan base from that. And that's an audience that a specific type of music is going to resonate with, and it's not necessarily mainstream rap. It's odd though, because there are plenty of rappers in the game right now that get tons of love from the rap sphere and the playlists, yet they try to shake the label of rapper off of them. Two examples of that being Lil Uzi Vert and Lil Yachty, either wanting to be called rock stars or just artists. Yet NF has never really tried to shy away from the title of rapper. He's honestly embraced it, but he isn't shown love by these entities, and perhaps it's because they too know that the audience is not one that'll resonate with his music for the most part. But that doesn't matter, because he's found millions that do embrace him for who he is and what he creates.
What Yassine said right there is absolutely key. The thing with NF is he's found millions who love him for him. At the end of the day, it's all about embracing what you are, which is something I think NF does a very good job at. I've spoken about the whole industry plan accusations in the past, made a video on it in 2019. These accusations were thrown at him after he outsold Chance the Rapper, a very big name in the industry. NF of course dropped his album The Search the same day Chance dropped The Big Day, and NF ended up coming out on top. For most people, this was kind of a surprise, because keep in mind, like I've stated in the past, most hip-hop fans are still oblivious to NF's existence. He's definitely on a lot of people's radar now, but was completely hidden, out of sight, out of mind in 2019. I don't even want to say that people underestimated his fan base, because to be fair, most people just aren't aware of how strong his movement actually is, or at least they weren't back then. That whole situation kind of proved a really important point though. You do not need the acceptance to thrive, all you need is your little universe to accept you, and the possibilities of what can happen after that, they're endless. Now, NF recently announced that he's going to be dropping a mixtape on March 26th, which is actually tonight. The title of that mixtape is Clouds. On the 18th of February, he dropped the project's lead single, which was titled Clouds. Personally, I like the song. It was very cinematic, very experience heavy like all of his other music. I don't think the perception of NF is ever gonna change, and I'm talking from the perspective of hip-hop fans. I think he's such an obscure personality in the genre to the point where he's not being welcomed to the rap industry with open arms. NF in hip-hop to me is like that kid in high school who doesn't fit in with the rest of the kids. The rest of the kids is an analogy for the rap industry, but ends up becoming very successful later in life, years after he's graduated. And yeah, he might not be welcomed with open arms. That's okay though, and this goes for life in general, by the way. You don't have to be liked by everyone. That's why when you do end up finding others who rock with you, it's effortless. Things are flowing smoothly, which it is for NF. Personally, I think he has one of the strongest fan bases in music, and I don't say that because there aren't other artists with way stronger fan bases. This is where context is key. I'm saying that while I'm taking his placement in the industry into consideration. The fact is, NF is a rapper who's not really everywhere. He has a lane he's owning and he's dominating that. Yes, he's a brand, but he's not the kind of brand that's been plastered absolutely everywhere. He's not being pushed or forced in front of people's faces, but is getting the kind of success like he's being pushed, which that's why the industry plan accusations were a thing. His success is almost a little too good to be true. I mean, think about it. Here's a guy who's getting the kind of numbers a lot of other rappers could only dream about, and he didn't really do anything out of character to get those numbers. No antics here. All he's really done is released music, obviously been highly consistent throughout the years. He's been super patient with his progress, made sure he's improved from project to project, has absolutely owned the lane that was open for him, and has managed to attract a very loyal following. I like the way that sounded, by the way, a very loyal following. But NF success is the definition of you can do it your own way. You don't have to break your back and become someone you're not just to find success in the game. And I think any artist out there who's trying to make it should study his success, because he's really as organic as you can possibly get from a career perspective. At this point, I think it's safe to say that the perception of NF has no effect whatsoever on his success. He's obviously gotten to a point where he's done the hard work, which is building an actual audience. That's the hard part. Once you succumb that, it's really only up from there, as long as you don't stop doing all the things that got you to that specific point. When it comes to NF, he's still going strong. He's still pushing. His audience is rapidly growing and is by the second defeating the negative perception the rap game might have of him. But yeah, the perception of NF, there you have it. Shout out to my boy Hello Yassine for joining me on this one. Me and him actually just dropped another collab on his channel, and it is actually NF related as well. I'm gonna leave a link to that video in the description below, and I suggest you subscribe to his channel because he, just like me, creates content on hip-hop that's great. With that being said, the perception of NF, what's your thoughts on that? Definitely let me know in the comment section below, and let's have a discussion about this.